thanks for coming in. Obviously, you got my email?
Yeah, that subject line was pretty interesting.
Well, you know that you've been having some attitude and it's really affecting our team.
Who says I'm having attitude problems?
Quite a number of people, and I've witnessed it myself.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, stomping around, slamming doors, you know, it's not what I expect from people that are working with me.
You know, I just feel like, do you remember that meeting we had back about the new project you wanted me to work on for the Aboriginal Resource Center? Mm-hmm. I just sort of felt like that whole thing came out of left field, and ever since we had that meeting, I've just really been feeling undervalued.
But you're on secondment to us to work on our website, and that project is part of what we're trying to do to modernize the library.
I hear that, but my initial role was really focused on the website, and this is a huge project, and I wasn't even talked about it at all before you agreed to do this.
We all have a job to do, and all of us are working really hard, and we need everyone to contribute to that.
You know, because of all the extra hours I was working for the last 6 months, like, I've had to stop coaching my kids' Little League game. And, you know, that was something that really meant a lot to me, just so that it could meet the expectations that were set out, that I really had no part in helping to set.
But then why didn't we have a conversation about this earlier? Like, really, the attitude that you're projecting isn't helping any of us be productive.
I hear that, but I mean, you didn't really come to me and include me in the conversation about what we were going to do with this project. You just dumped this project in my lap when I already have the first part, the whole reason why I was seconded to do this initially.
All right, Gus, I don't think I'm approaching this the right way. I think I need to talk to you about the fact that I'm under a lot of pressure. There's a lot of jobs that need to get done, and in a timely manner, and so what I really need from you is for us to have a discussion about what you need, and then we can work on priorities from here.
I like the way that sounds. I just sort of feel like if we had had this conversation before, that you would have really been setting me up for success. So that's sort of, I think, why I've been sort of grumpy lately and maybe showing my displeasure at work. Is just that, I mean, I'm here to work for you, but you're not really including me in those conversations. So, I mean, what I could really use from you to help me is to really help me set some of those priorities, because I'm swamped right now. And, you know, just to have more things thrown on the pile is not helping me, right? Like, I need you to help me sort of work through those priorities and kind of set those, and then work with me to kind of come up with the timelines for when those things are going to be done.
And I think that goes back to both of us, because I know I pushed you hard when we delivered the idea of the project, but we needed to start that communication then, and I know I pushed hard, but maybe that's when you needed to push back, not throw around the attitude. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to put some of that aside and talk about moving forward.
I hear what you're saying, but I just feel like when we had that initial meeting where you dropped this project on me, I mean, that was in front of all of the coworkers in the Aboriginal Resource Center, and I really felt like that was something, like that was sort of an opportunity where you could have either talked to me before that instead of parachuting me into this mess.
That's true, and I apologize for that now, but obviously I can't go back and correct that. You know, like I said, I'm under a lot of stress, and this is somewhat new to me to have such a large team, and so I'm working on some of those skills. And so I'm hoping that, you know, we can get to a place where we can move past this.
Sure, I can appreciate that.
I think what I need from you is to understand where the project is, what we need going forward, and an understanding of if there's other people in the team that you think can support you, so that we can try to shift some of those pieces that aren't as necessary for you to complete.
Yeah, and I think maybe what we can do to kind of get to that point is just sort of lay down all of the things that I'm working on right now, and then add this project in and sort of timeline out that, and kind of come to a mutual agreement on sort of when things are going to get done, what things have to slide in order to meet whatever deadlines have been given to you as priorities. That's really not something I can do on my own, because you're receiving this feedback from your boss, I'm hearing it through you, but I don't really know when those things are supposed to be done, or who's vying for what. I just have the task to do.
So I think if we can work on the timelines together, and then I can take them up, because I might have to also get some permissions on some of those, larger projects.
Sure.
That, again, there's some pressure on me to get those completed. And so if we can start to streamline what needs to get done, what can be done somewhere else. But I also think it's important that we start to talk about opportunities for other training, like how do we manage those emotions, how do we keep that communication open.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, it was just like I said, it just really caught me off guard during that meeting, because it really just felt like you were invalidating all of the hard work I've been putting in for 6 months to get this other project done. And so I think that's what kind of threw me.
Gus, I'm so happy you see it my way, and I really think if you can take the learning and development course in conflict management, that would be really great and push us forward.
I'm not so sure it's just a problem with me. Like, I'm willing to take some responsibility here, but I don't think just having me do a learning and development course on conflict management is going to solve the issue that you and I have had over the past few months. Maybe it's something that, like, you and I need to work together on this. So, I completely recognize that I sort of shut down when you dropped the project on me, and then was kind of being a jerk around the office. So I can sort of watch that behavior and make sure I don't get myself in there, try to communicate more openly with you. But, I mean, there's some things that you have to improve on too, I think.
That might be, but I think this is a clear example of, an inability of yours to accept some of the constructive criticism that I'm trying to give you. And I'd really like to see you manage those emotions more. And I think that conflict management course would benefit you.
It just seems like you're not taking any responsibility for this, right? And, here I am, like, it's all my fault. I'm being a jerk. I need to learn how to manage my emotions, but I wouldn't have been in this position if I hadn't got there with you.
But I did agree that I've been under a lot of pressure, and maybe I manage my emotions differently than you. And so aside from the course, I do think we need to work on our relationship, but I do still think that that's one direction I really would like you to focus on. So I understand where you're coming from, but what I really need for you is to move forward and take the course, and then we can start to work on our relationship together alongside of that. But I need to see, a commitment from you as well to move forward.
I'm committed, but maybe this is a course that we should take together.
I understand where you're coming from there. I've actually taken the course, and maybe I'm not practicing it as well as I should. I think for me, I see some communication pieces. So maybe that's what I'll do, is I'll reconnect with that material, and then you and I can discuss it once you take the course. And maybe that's what we can do, is kind of get together afterwards and talk about things that work for us, things that we appreciate in working with someone else, and get a better understanding of, how to work together.
What about, there was an email that came out from Learning and Development, I think last week, and it mentioned a course called Coaching and Communicating for Performance. Why don't we do that?
What about the suggestion that I do the communication course and you do the conflict management course?
That makes a lot of sense, because the email that came out did really say that the Coaching and Communicating for Performance course was more directed for managers. So why don't we do that? Why don't you do the Coaching and Communicating for Performance course, and I'll do the conflict management course, and then that'll sort of give us a ground where we can kind of come together to work on our communication troubles.
That sounds good to me.